Hello and welcome to another conversation class. As you can see today, we're going to be talking about food, about meal times. So the first word we have is dishes, and that would be like you're saying, wash the dishes, put dishes on the table. And that word is the word jan. So we're going to use an AH to get the ah sound. Dishes. Right here you see jan. Okay, so jan. Dishes. We don't know the word for wash yet, so I'll save that for later. Dishes. Next we have plate. So there are many different words that we can use for the word plate, but I'm going to give you one that you will remember and one that people will be able to understand. So what we're going to call this is a rice dish or a dish for rice. So we call it jan bai. Jan bai. You already know the word rice. Jan bai. Okay, I'm not going to write that one down for you, but you could say som jan bai moi, and they would bring you a plate or some sort of flat dish that you could put rice in. The next word we're going to learn, we need to talk a little bit about Khmer food. So Khmer food, for soup, they would consider a soup more like a broth. They would actually use the word soup, sort of compatible to our English word soup. But you notice a lot of Khmer food, it has liquid with it. It's vegetables, meat instead of a liquid. We would probably call it some sort of soup, but they call it som la. Some law, some law, some law. And I'm just going to write soup. I know that it could be different. There is a difference in Khmer language between some law and soup, but you see majority of their food, we would consider it soup, some law. And so this, we have a soup dish, we would call jan some la, jan some la. And they would bring you some sort of bowl, something to put soup in. All right, so those are those first two. We have, once again, we have jan bai, jan some la for bowl. The next word we have in our list is a very simple word to pronounce, and that is the word for fork is som. Som. So you'll see it's actually the same as this. It has nothing to do with the soup dish. It just happens to be the same. But I'm going to spell it the same way. Som. Fork. Som. So you have your som. Next word in my list here is spoon. And this word has two syllables. Let me write it out for you real quick. Slap pri. Your pri is your accented syllable. Slap pri. So sla, this has your ah sound in it. Slap. But once again, your p is not. It's not slap. Okay? Slap. It's simply a way to close your mouth. And then pri, and it's not pri. The p, it's actually that special p that we talked about that doesn't have the air, but Pria. This is similar to the word for God that you already know. Prea, that has an A here. This is pria, slap pria. So our next word would be slap pria. Next word we have on our list is chopsticks. Let me write that out for you. The first syllable is jong. And the English is going to get sort of small here because I ran out of room. But jong, ga. It has that H, the air after it. Jongka, jongka. All right, so that is chopsticks, jongka. Let's see what our next word is. So just in review, fork, som, spoon, slap pria, chopsticks, jongka. Next word, cup. Now you already know this word in Khmer if you've studied any phonics. And so I will write it out in Khmer. Ka, ka. Once again, I use the G here. I know when we first studied phonics, we did the K with a crossed out H. The reason we can use G is because Cambodia does not have an English G. So every time we see the G, we think we have that K without the H or the G without the sound. I tend to write that more when I write it, but it's not an English G. It's not ga, it's ga, ga, right, for cup. So you already know that word as far as how to pronounce it. The next word on our list is, sorry, here, I'll just real quick put it up, more for my sake so I remember what word comes next. Table, once again, this is another one that you know how to pronounce from phonics. And again, we said fast. Okay, and this is table. So you have your ta and your o, to, to. The o sound here, to, to is your word for table. So you could say som angkoi, no at, no tok. Som angkoi, no tok. Tok, som tok. Sorry, I said that wrong. Som angkoi, no tok. Please sit at the table. All right. Next word. This one you can also read in Khmer. So we'll write it out in Khmer letters for you. And that is the word for chair. If you've went through the first grade Khmer book, you've already been to this word. All right, and when we write it out in English, it's a really long bunch of different syllables, all for the word, that is very simply written out in Khmer. So you have gao, ai, gao, ai. Once again, remember the majority of the time, your second syllable will be the one that's accented. So gao, ai, gao, ai. You almost cannot hear this, but it isn't. It's not gao, ai. It's gao, gao, u, gao, ai is the word for chair. Gao, ai. Next word we have is napkin. And that one, the first part of it is gra. Second syllable is da. Now, the AH here says ah. This additional H to get this one ends with the gra da. Once again, second syllable is your accented gra da. Napkin. I'm going through these quite quickly, but I think you'll probably pause these, write these down in your notebook yourself, and then continue on. That way it doesn't make the lesson too long. Okay, next word we have hungry. Hungry. This one is klee. Let me write it like this for you. Clean. Now this one does, because this is a E vowel, the E that we learned about, when you have the E vowel, normally the E is the one accented. So this one actually has the first syllable of it accented. Clean, clean for the word hungry. Knyom clean. I'm hungry. Full, there are two words for full, and one is the word bang. It means if you were to fill a cup. Okay? If I were to fill this cup, I would say bang. It's full of something. But to say that you're full of food is actually a different word in Khmer. So we have two different words for full. If something is full, if your house is full of people, that would be the word bang. Okay? But if you're full, this word is basically only used for food. It is also used in idioms, so that you'll see later. But as far as being actually full, the real meaning of the word, it is only used for food. And this one I am going to write in Khmer because mấy cho miền Tây. Okay. Now, this is something we haven't really learned, this what we call jung, but this is an ah. So how this is written out is you have your CH sound, and then this one just means you have like a little breath in there, and then you have an I, so long I, and then your TH. This is read ch, I. Now, you could read it I, ch, I. Ait, ch'ait. So this is pronounced ch'ait, ch'ait, full. Knyom ch'ait hai. I'm full. Right? They ask you to eat. We learned you could say at aite, mun aite, or you could say knyom ch'ait hai. I'm already full. Either one is okay. All right, we already learned in the past. We already learned fruit, which is, do you remember? Plaito. We already learned fruit. We already learned the word for meat, which was sad. Now we're going to learn the word for vegetables. All right, so our next word on our list is vegetables. Bon lai. Bon lai. So I'm sorry, I didn't write these in English. Bon lai, vegetables. Okay. Next word we have is sweet, and that is I'm. Right? It's different than paim, I'm. This is something we don't really do in English, so it takes a little bit getting used to, but if it's confusing, just say your I'm. Sweet. We actually didn't learn the word for food. I don't remember if we talked about it the other day, but mahop, I'm, nah, or plaito, I'm, and then nah would be very much, so I'm sweet. The next word then would be sour. Sour. Let me erase this and write the word for sour. This is another quite simple sound. Ju, oo in tooth. Ju. So you eat a lime, you eat a green mango. Ju, so sour. All right, and then we have one more word, which is the word more. There are two different words for the word more. And I think I'll give you both of them, okay? And you can just see. We talked a little bit, I believe. I could be wrong if I use this word. I'm going to use a shorter way of saying it. More. Okay, so the first word for more is tiet. Now this is the ia sound again. So in the ia sound, the e is the one that's accented. So tiet. Remember, it's not tiet or thiet. Our th in Khmer is with your tongue behind your teeth. Tiet. Okay, more. So you could say, som tak tiet. Can I have some more water? Som bai tiet. Okay, more. There's another word that's easy to remember, and that is the word time. Just like what time is it? So maybe that would be an easy one for you to remember. It means to add more of something. So you have to add more of something. If you say, I have more brothers than you do, you're not adding more, you're simply saying more. So that would be the word tiet. So tiet can work for almost anything. This word time is when you're saying adding something more, Can I have some more? So you could say som by time or som time by. You can actually put it on either side. It's an interesting grammatical thing that they do as far as speaking. So som time by time, som by tiết, som lo tiết. Okay? So something you could say. Just like English, when we talk about soup, it would be a non-count noun, right? Please, more soup. But if you were to say spoon, please, another spoon, or please, you don't say, can I please have more soup? You don't say, can I please have more spoon? You would have to say another spoon or one more spoon or something like that. So in Khmer, it'd be the same way. It'd be som slap bria moi tiet or som slap bria pi tiet. Okay? So that would be the same thing in English. You would have to use your counted number as in English. All right, so real quick before we go, let's just review. I'll give you a second to answer. You might have to look at your book. I hope that the more and more you look at this, the faster you get and the less you have to look at your book. All right, so here we go. Dishes, jaan, plate, jaan bai, bowl, jaan som lo, fork, som, spoon, slap pria. Right, next is chopsticks. I don't really have to lift all these up every time. Jangka. Right, cup. Ka. Good. Table. Tok. Chair. Cao ơi. Napkin. Krot đa. Hungry. Clean. Full. Chait. Vegetables. One lai. And while we're talking about it, fruit. Platter. Rice. Bài. Meat. Side. Okay. Continue on. Sweet. Paim. Sour. Chu. And more. Tiết or time. All right. Hope you enjoy your meals coming up. Try to use your words as much as possible. Make yourself use the words. You're eating something. Oh, paim. Du. Som time. Som chan. Som la. So use your words as much as possible. Goodbye. Have a great day.